All right, welcome to the Philly Fox and Danny D Eagles podcast. That's the star of the show, Philly Fox, and I'm your host, Danny D. And we are coming to you from our Eagles perch in the Ed Bobko Memorial Studios in beautiful Morristown, PA. Today we are going to preview Rams-Eagles divisional round and Philly's picks on the rest of the divisional round. So we're going to start out with what we think the game plan is going to be. How do you think we're going to start out, Philly?
We always start with some Barkley runs, see if we could break a few.
Right, and then feel out the process and work in some passes.
Well, yes, because they might stack the box, given what happened in the first game.
Right, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Barkley just went crazy on them, and of course, and then in the second half, I think if everything works out, with the running, right, weather. And the cold weather and maybe some snow, right? Because there's a chance of snow.
Because in a running back game with snow, the Eagles have the definite advantage with Saquon. So.
Yeah, and definitely they should be paying dividends on all the running and stuff in the first half. So all right, and then there was also haven't they played before in the snow?
They faced Matthew Stafford when he was with the Lions back in 2013 in the regular season. In a
snow
game.
Wow, okay. And okay, so it was when he was with the Lions, and that was what
a 34-20 Eagles win.
Okay, all right. So so they've played before in the snow, and Stafford lost. Okay, all right. So in that first game, Barkley had a hell of a game, didn't he?
302 all-purpose yards, 255 rushing, 47 receiving, 2 TDs.
Yeah, and Jalen wasn't bad either. I mean, he was 15 for 22, 179 yards, and 1 TD, 12 for 39 rushing. Also, we had...
Yep, AJ caught a pass for a touchdown, and then Gainwell caught a he rushed for one.
So. Yeah, and the final score was 37-10. Now, I know it's been a while, but, definitely it's better to have beat them the first time than to have lost. Yeah, I mean, and the Rams really, man, and it was at home, right? But they really weren't able to put much together. They only scored 7 points in the first half. And they did score 13 in the second half, but 6 of those only came in the fourth quarter. And
the game was pretty much out of reach.
Yeah, it was out of reach at that point. But I mean, if I'll be honest with you, with the way this game is going to be going in the second half, I don't know how much gas they're going to have. I think they better score more than that 7 points they did in the first game if they
expect to win this one.
Which we don't think they are going to, of course. Yeah, and then the defense is going to have some challenges this week with Nakobe Dean out, right?
Yes, though we have Burks and then Jeremiah Trotter Jr. They're not bad replacements.
No, and then of course Zahn is supposed to do play calling on defense, which Nakobe Dean did. So that's going to be a challenge for him. But we both feel that he's going to be up for the challenge.
Because I will give credit to Howie. Like last year when the linebackers got hurt, there was no depth and they collapsed the whole team because no one could step in and it was just a free fall.
Right, absolutely. And yeah, so Howie did a good job of
addressing that,
of getting the depth and addressing that. Absolutely. So the Rams, they beat. Who did they beat?
The Vikings.
They beat the Vikings, man, and they were rough on them, right? I mean, they actually played a really good game. Came at
Sam
Darnold, sacked him quite a few times, right? I mean, the guy was running for his life.
But at the same time, the Vikings O-line sting. Like the interior was just getting beat every play.
Right.
Against the Eagles, it's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen against our O-line, man. I mean, they're if not the best. I mean, they might not be the best ranked, but I think they're the best O-line in the in the league for sure, right?
Because we can make a joke and say Hurts had enough time to go to the toilet with how much time he had to throw. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, some of those, but I mean, it was like 6 and 7 seconds. I mean, that's unheard of,
Yes,
so if we to beat the Rams, we definitely need to stop
Kupp and Nakua.
Right. I mean, those are some good wide receivers, aren't they?
Well, there were 2 top 10 receivers in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nakua's kind of new to me, but I've been watching Kupp for a while, and I'll be honest with you, he could be on my team any day. I really like the guy. The way the explosion after he catches the ball. And their running back, he's no slouch, right?
Kyron Williams.
Yeah. I mean, he's not
Josh Jacobs, but
right.
What we faced last week. But.
Yeah, not at all. And their quarterback Stafford. I mean, hasn't had a ton of success, but he's got a lot of experience. Well, I shouldn't say that, right? Well, I shouldn't say that about success.
His success against the Eagles is about 500, give or take. But most of it came with Detroit. He was 4-1 with the Lions against the Eagles, but 0-2 with the Rams. So.
Right. And their coach McVay, right? I mean, he's no slouch either. I mean, he's won a Super Bowl.
He's been to another.
Right, and he's been to another. But he doesn't have a good record against the Eagles.
A 1-4, and his only win was in the COVID year with Wentz with no fans.
With no fans, right?
And Wentz was so horrible. The crowd was fumbling in fake boos from the sound system.
Fake boos. I mean, that's. I hate to pick on an Eagle, but man, yeah, that must have been pretty bad.
Yes.
Okay. So injury. So we talked about the
Dean
injury, right? I mean that's probably the main injury. I mean AJ's kind of healed up from last week. Hopefully he's not on the sidelines having to read his book this week, right? We don't want to be doing that. And then we got Jalen.
Yes, he's a lot healthier. I think he'll be over the concussion a lot more.
Right.
Because some of those fans were picking on him, saying like, well, he had practice, he should be crisp and stuff, but practice is not the real game, people.
Yeah, and let's face it, come on. I don't know if anybody out there has been through a concussion, but, it can't be easy to come back. And every week that he's playing afterwards, he's going to get better. He's definitely going to get better. All right.
Score predictions?
Yeah, so we got the score prediction on here.
Yep, 28-17 Eagles.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think 17 might be high for the Rams. I don't know. I'm telling you, they better score them points in the first half because that second half
is going to be brutal.
It's going to be brutal. They're going to shut them down. I mean
But I always taking like garbage time into it. Consider like they might get a garbage time touchdown to make the score a little neater and stuff.
There you go. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Scoring 10 points. That's realistic to 10 points,
Yeah, and with another tough game coming next week, no matter who it's against, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that in the next segment. But we definitely, if we're up enough and we can rest some players, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's go to pick Philly's picks.
Well, from last week.
Let's go over those. You were 4-2. Okay, not a bad week. I mean, but
But the Chargers really let me down. I picked them to beat Houston and.
Yeah. I mean, what's the quarterback?
Well, Herbert threw 4 picks. He threw 3 all season, and he threw 4 in that game.
Yeah. And so a big letdown there. But you got to credit Houston. Anytime a team wins, you got to give them some credit.
Stroud's a dog, I'll say, and D'Amico Ryans is a good coach. I respect him.
Yeah.
Former Eagle too, D'Amico Ryans. So.
Yeah. Okay. And then the Baltimore Pittsburgh game.
Yes, I obviously had Baltimore that because the Steelers were collapsing. They were last year's Eagles, like reincarnated, basically.
Yeah. And then we had the Denver Buffalo.
Well, yeah, Buffalo won easily, just as expected.
Right. And then the other one that you got wrong. Yeah,
well, that was a pick'em game, Washington, Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and it almost went.
Went to the Bucks, but then Baker Mayfield fumbled a basic handoff, and that changed the momentum.
Right. Yeah, I mean he can't even hand the ball off to his running back. Yeah,
yes.
I don't know if it's a size of his hand problem or something or whatever, but yeah, he fumbles a lot. Okay, and then we had one more game last week.
Well, I picked the Rams to win, and they did.
Yeah. And I remember pointing out that, you guys were, because you and Andrew both picked the Rams, and I said, you guys are picking a 10-7 team over 14-3 team.
Well, I just didn't trust Darnold, and he proved me right that,
Yeah.
I mean, the O-line at times did look horrible, but at the same time, when Darnold did have time, he was missing open receivers, and it just, he didn't look ready for the moment.
No, not at all. I mean, I know when I watched the game, I was like, part of me was like feeling sorry for him, but like the announcer said, once he got spooked, he just started darting all over the place, and
He was
sometimes
seeing ghosts, like because back when he was with the Jets, he famously said that.
Oh, really?
Ironically, a Monday Night Football game too. Like he said, like I'm seeing ghosts. Like,
yeah, I think I remember that.
like I'm saying, he was seeing ghosts, in this game too.
Yeah, I mean, who says that, right? I mean, even if you're thinking it, I don't think that's something that you should share. Okay. All right. So then, so that's last week's pick. So let's go over this week's pick. So first one, this is out obviously the game that we're probably have the most interest in of the three, and that's Washington and Detroit.
I mean, I'm picking Detroit, even though I want Washington to win. I just don't think Jay and Daniels and that team's experienced enough, yet. Like Detroit has more experience in big games, and right.
Yeah, well, I mean, and come on, let's face it. I mean, going into Detroit for a young team like that and a young quarterback, he has shown a lot of poise this season, but that's going to be a tough place to play. I mean, that place is going to be super, super loud. So, yeah, good pick there. Texans and Chiefs.
Unfortunately, I'm picking the Chiefs because they'll find some weird way to win again. That's what they've done all year.
Yeah, I mean they haven't been impressive too much. They just keep winning, and
like fluke luck or something.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, hey,
it could all come crashing down.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, it wouldn't
surprise me if the Texans will.
Surprise it, or it wouldn't disappoint me. I guess that's where I was going, because...
I mean, no one in America would be disappointed other than Chiefs fans,
Yeah. Okay. So then we got one more game. We got the Ravens and Bills. Okay.
Well, I'm picking the Bills, but somehow the Ravens are the favorite in Buffalo.
Yeah, at home. Yeah, I don't get it. And it probably has something to do with, I guess they played them early in week 4.
Yeah, the Ravens blew them out in Baltimore 35-10.
35-10, yeah.
And Henry went wild, but still the Bills weren't the same team they are now, and they didn't have Amari Cooper, which opened up their offense a lot more.
Yeah, so they're two totally different teams now, because I don't think the Ravens are as explosive
as they were early on.
And I don't think Henry's going to go crazy in Buffalo because, well, I mean, it happened to him once. I mean, I don't think the Bills are going to let it happen again.
And Lamar hasn't been showing up in playoff games against big teams. I'm not talking about the Steelers with an old Russell Wilson or Ryan Tannehill. I'm talking about real teams.
Real teams, yeah. And the Bills Mafia. I mean, that's no joke either. I mean, that's not an easy place to play. I know the Ravens are also an outdoor team, right? And they can play in the cold, but I don't know. We'll see. I think that's going to be. These are all going to be great games to watch this week, and whoever. I mean, we're getting down to the
wire.
The final 8. I mean, so they're all decent teams. No matter how you feel they got here, they're all here right now, and at this point, they technically all have a chance. All right. Well, I guess that does it for the picks. So. All right, so you remember you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. And then remember, if you don't hate us,
like us.
Yeah, and subscribe and follow so you don't miss an episode. And we're going to wrap it up. Fly, Eagles, fly. And today we're going to do something a little extra, and we're going to do an Eagles chant. You ready, Philly?
Yes.
Okay. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! All right.